Hello and welcome back to Level Up with Loraine. I am your host, Loraine, and I'm so excited that you're back here with me today. Now, today we're going to be talking about life's seasons, particularly the low seasons of our lives. And I'll be sharing with you why I think that these are actually the most critical seasons, how to harness them and thrive in the low season. So we're probably all experiencing a low season in some area of our lives, whether we realize it or not. And I'm going to give you a few examples of what that may look like. So you may be waiting for the new or next opportunity, whether it's a new job or a promotion, or you may be waiting for healing, right? Whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, and you are just really waiting for complete and sustained healing. Or you could be waiting for provision, and that could be financial breakthrough, a new home. Maybe you've got a dream home you've been wanting to buy, and you're waiting for the opportunity to do that, or a new car, or even just capital to start your business. Other things could be maybe reconciliation with your friend or a family member. Or you could be waiting for your new partner or a spouse. And so what you will see is we are always waiting for something. There is always an area in our lives where we will be in a low season. And that's what we are focusing on today. And really, there is power in the wait. But a lot of us don't see it because we are so eager for that next thing. So I want us to talk about that. What does that look like? What does that waiting period look like? Why is it important? So I'm a Christian girl, so I'll always throw a verse at you. And Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 says there is time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And so, as we know, the only constant is change, and there will always be change in our lives, right? Just like seasons change, there will always be change. And so sometimes we are in bloom, everything is growing, we're thriving. Other things feel barren, they feel slow or even broken. But what if the low seasons weren't failures and they were actually fertile ground for us to do inner work or any kind of work to prepare us for the next season? And so waiting is one of the hardest things to do, right? Especially in a world that celebrates speed and visibility and constant progress. But here's what I've learned. There is power in the wait. Waiting isn't just the absence of movement. It's the presence of preparation. And so that low season, you've been presented with an opportunity to actually do an introspection, a retrospection, to get clarity and to be able to prepare for that which you want the next season to present. It's the space where things settle, where truths arise, where roots grow deep, and you really find yourself and you can reposition or re-strategize for that area of your life. So a simple example, think about nature. Think about a tree. The tree doesn't grow fruit in every season, but during the quiet months, it's still growing nutrients, it's still strengthening, it's still getting ready for the next season. In the same way, your waiting season is not wasted. It's sacred ground, I like to say, for clarity, for healing, for direction. So when you think about the tree in autumn, as the season shifts, the leaves don't cling to the branches. Quite like what we do when we are in a thriving season. We want to cling onto it out of fear. But the tree doesn't do that. It lets go. And it's not because the tree is dying. It's because it's entering a necessary phase of rest and renewal. And the falling leaves aren't a sign of failure. They're a sign of wisdom, the knowledge and wisdom to know that it's time for me to let go. The season has come to an end. And if I want to bear good fruit in the next season, I need to actually let go, right? I need to not carry whatever I'm carrying right now into the next season. So the tree knows it can't carry everything into winter, in quotes. So it releases what's no longer needed. So the shedding of leaves and this and that, not just for survival, but to prepare for new growth. And what's beautiful is that under the surface, while everything looks still and barren, the tree is actually hard at work. Its roots are deepening and it's storing energy and preparing for the next season. So it's preparing. And that's how our lives work too. Sometimes things have to fall away. The job that you absolutely loved, the relationships that you adored, your identity as you may know it, even some dreams that you've held on to for so long, to make space for something deeper to take root. And so you have to let go and allow for winter, in quotes, to take place, right? And for the rightful change to occur so that you can find yourself in that thriving season again. So don't fear falling. Don't fear winter. Don't be afraid of the low season. Trust the process. Even in the shedding, you are being strengthened and prepared. So I think it's so critical to normalize low seasons. We all experience them, and yet we find a lot of people go through them alone for whatever reason. Fear of the unknown, maybe not having someone to talk to that they can trust, or maybe they're embarrassed that, they lost that job or they lost that relationship. But really, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. If anything, it's important to stay positive, to stay hopeful, and to do the work. And so now we are going to move into what is the actual practical work that needs to be done in the low season. And again, I want to emphasize, low seasons are not punishments, they are invitations. And so once you look at it that way and you change your view of them, you will find that you will get through them probably even quicker than if you are sort of, looking at them negatively. So let's talk about what practical work can be done in the low season. So I've clustered the work to be done into 4 parts: the inner work, which is your heart and mind; the restorative work, body and spirit; the preparation work, which is your vision, your skills, depending on what it is that you're hoping for the next season; and relational work. And that, includes community and boundaries if necessary. So I will go through these pretty quickly, but I do want to sort of, break them down individually. So inner work, here, this is more reflection kind of work. So what is the season revealing? And you can do this through journaling, processing your emotions, identifying any patterns that continue to come up, and writing down your fears and dreams. And again, this will show you what the season is revealing. So for example, if you may be trying to pivot, it may be time to pivot your career, but you may not know that if you continue holding on to that job, or, grieving the season of the amazing job, right? And if you're already looking forward to the next job, you may lose the opportunity to see something that is critical in the low season. And maybe there is something to be revealed about pivoting, right? What are the changes you need to make? Or if the season is more around, you've just lost a partner and you're about to, you're looking for a new partner, maybe there are patterns to be shown about the profile of person that you've been dating, right? And before you move on to the next person, the low season and doing this inner reflection work will show you some of those trends so that you don't make the same mistake twice. And so this inner work is very important, and things like journaling, therapy, coaching, a self-audit of sorts are very important. And also revisiting your why, right? Reconnecting with your purpose and values, and really understanding what is my external motivation for wanting this, A, B, and C. What is it that's motivating me to want this job or this kind of partner or this house? Is it in alignment with my purpose and my values? So revisit your why in your low season and do some of that inner work. And when we talk about, the body and spirit, so the second sort of bucket, restorative work, intentional rest. I was laughing with a friend the other day and I was saying, typically when we're in between jobs, we are so consumed with the uncertainty of whether we will get a job that we don't actually rest, right? We don't rest the mind, we don't rest the body. We're so stressed, we're just on the go. You're on LinkedIn, you're looking for the next opportunity. But this is actually a blessing in disguise, right? That low season, being in between jobs or whatever it may be for you, is actually an opportunity for you to sleep more, to unplug, to avoid the hustle culture guilt, right? That guilt that comes with we should always be hustling. Who says that, right? It's important to be able to actually take intentional rest, and low seasons provide you that opportunity. Your faith is also something that you can lean into more during your low season. So whatever faith practices that you are used to, whether it's prayer, meditation, fasting, devotional reading, whatever that looks like, that's part of that restorative work. And, the low season presents time for you to do that. Decluttering is another, body and spirit kind of work, right? Where you clean your physical space. When was the last time you actually cleaned out your wardrobe or, arranged it by color, by clothing type, etc.? Or, just getting rid of the stuff that's taking up space in your life, in your wardrobe, but really it's also very much a representation of your life, right? If you don't declutter your physical space, it's a representation of what's happening in your mind, probably, or what's happening in your life. So you want to start by clearing out and cleaning out your physical space. And again, the low season presents time for you to do that. And it helps with creating mental clarity when you do that. And this goes without saying, exercise and nourishment. Exercise for a handful of reasons, but for me, the joy and the happy hormones that come from just from exercising is amazing. And I think especially when you're in a low season, it's important to stick to that, to move your body and to eat healthy food and to be mindful of that, to continue being physically active. So that's restorative work, intentional rest, leaning into your faith, decluttering, and exercising. I mean, they could be much more, but I have just synthesized it to these 4. When we move into preparation work, really what we're talking about here is if you've been yearning for a promotion or, wanting a new job, instead of just staying stagnant whilst you wait, there are things that you can actually do to make you better, right? So that when that opportunity is presented, you are more than ready for it. And so this can include skills building, so taking a course, reading books, and studying the areas that you've probably ignored that would be the competencies maybe required for the next job. Planning is also preparation work. So refining your goals, mapping out your systems, your strategies for the next season, and rebuilding your confidence. And again, this is maybe speaking affirmations or recrafting your affirmations, reflecting on your past wins, building your self-trust, all of that. So I think there's a lot of preparation that you can do in the low season. And again, this is a great opportunity for you to do that. And there's also, an opportunity to do quiet creation. So have you ever thought about starting a business? So starting a business that no one sees yet, and maybe you have never thought about because you've always been on the go. Again, preparation work allows for you to do that quiet creation. And then very lastly, relational work. And this speaks to, spending time with people who refresh you, right? This is the time to, touch base with those mates, those family members, those mentors, the people that refresh you, the people that help you, with just strategizing for your life or planning for your life. It's also time for you to set new boundaries, right? Maybe think about the old season and the things that didn't go well and recognize where you've overextended yourself and where you need to reset. And I guess lastly here would be forgive and release, right? And It goes back maybe to if you're in a low season where you need to fix some certain relationships, whether it's friends or family, maybe holding on to grudges or disappointments has made you gain a lot of emotional weight. And this may be the time to work on your forgiveness muscle and to release all of that. So to close out, I really want to encourage whoever is listening that every season has a purpose. Don't compare your winter to someone else's summer. Growth happens, and it often happens underground when no one can see it, and it's like seeds germinating. No one can see it. They will only see the result when it starts to grow. And you are not behind. You are being prepared. And following from last week's episode, you can also add the following affirmations when you're in a low season. This season is equipping me, not ending me. My quiet work now will become my loud bloom later. So we have come to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening this far. Again, just as a parting note, don't despise the slow days. Don't rush the unseen work, because when the next season comes, and it will, you'll realize that the wait wasn't empty. It was everything. It was everything you needed. And I also want to encourage you to ask yourself, what am I truly waiting for? And what might I be growing in me while I wait? Thank you so much for listening. If you found this useful, please share this episode with someone in a low season or anyone that you think may find value in it. Leave a review and set up your notifications so that when the next episode is out, you will always be notified. Again, thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you. Until next time, continue to level up.